Greetings, my warriors, Fannie Mac and Freddie Mac. So, I would like to put this video and to talk a little bit and to cover at least a little bit the subject of warrants. We all know about their existence, and they're like 80% of the. They have 80% of the warrants the government has, 84% of the warrants of Fannie Mac and Freddie Mac, 79.9. So, the question is um, when it was created, how it's created, and why it's created, and are those warrants real, and can they be executed? Are they legal? We know that, as I said, like we know that they exist. There was number of talks that they will be sold, that government has them, and so on. So basically, they were created when SPSA was created, and at that point of time, they created the senior preferred shares, and they create 80% warrants as say that just as a hedge for those senior preferred shares, in order to borrow the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac money in order to be liquid. Not profitable, but to be liquid. So the company was profitable all the time. So what is going on? That SPS amendment, SPSA amendment, was created basically illegally. In what aspect? There was number of suits, and it was like a big mess about that. But what is important is that contract, we can call it a contract of SPS, was never signed. It doesn't. It was never executed. So they created it just like one-sided creation, and that's it. So it was never signed on, not even on by the conservators. So that contract should be illegal. With that, if it is illegal contract, that means that creation of a senior preferred shares as well as the warrants is also illegal. So there was no approval for their creation. There was nobody approved the creation of those warrants. Also, contrary to the standard and the law in the industry, they created the warrants for some marginal price, like $0.001, and but you cannot create the warrants for like that. You cannot take for example, the Google cannot create the warrants, or let's say Berkshire Hathaway. The price is how much? $700,000, and they cannot create the warrants for 1 cent and then give them. That is like forbidden. You must create the warrants based on the price of the share. And at that point of time, when the warrants were created, I think the price of the share was like a couple of dollars, but it definitely was not 0.0001 or something like that. So they created the warrants illegally and bought them. They didn't. I think that they didn't even pay them for illegal price. So existence of those warrants is very questionable. That is on one side. Existence of SPSA is also hyper questionable, and their legality, because it was the contract that was not signed. So what makes the contract that is not signed? That is empty piece of paper, if you ask me. And probably it's not that I'm so much familiar with their legalities, but I know if I have the contract and the other party didn't sign it, that I know that I didn't have a contract, I have just a piece of paper. So SPSA is also empty piece of paper. So the government took that and forced upon the company, on our company, some measures that actually took away $250 billion So it's like just taken away from the company. And on top of that, it also tried to take 80% of the equity in the company. Also based on that empty paper that is not a contract. So that is the most, what is also important. Also that they created that warrants like on 79.9%, because the if it is like 80%, it would have much more different legalities. So they try to skim everything down the, like below the surface, that like we will not notice. It's not that we didn't notice, but in face of the government, you're pretty helpless. And it is not fair battle, like they can change the rules anytime. It is. And what is the worst case scenario, like there is like the judges are afraid to take and do anything about that. There was Lamberth Suit, and the judge Lambert was not ready to sign us anything, but thankfully the jury took and brought the verdict that it was not that government was not supposed to deal in to harm the company. So it was like, but overall, what is most important is that those warrants should not exist. Why? Because if nothing else, if we first, they should not exist because you cannot take and make the warrants and for the price that it doesn't reflect the price of the share. That is number one. Number two, you cannot create the warrants based on the piece of paper that is not even a contract, what is SPSA is. So legally they should not exist, but they did create them. And I'm not surprised, like nobody's surprised, they can do anything what they want, but they shouldn't. At least the judges like Lambert should take and do something. And like I don't understand. If you're a judge, you should take and like it doesn't matter what whoever tells you what you should do the duty as it is right, not what is kind of nice for your retirement. Yeah, that kind of judge wouldn't last long. That is that is different story. But at least Lambert done it, because now Lambert has the excuse and defense to do it. But also, what is important is that Lambert is allowing this appeal that is on that verdict to be extended. It should not be, because there was a judgment. We know that everything was done wrong by the government. We know it. It was like proven. And the Lambert is allowing all of that to postpone and move on. So it is the problem of the government, but that judge should also like say, okay, like I have oath, I have duty toward truth, toward whole system, because there was a jury judgment, and now I allow that everything is postponed as he does. And probably he will expand. I don't expect anything good from the court system. I don't expect anything good from the judges who were afraid to do something what they knew it was wrong, and waited for jury to say it. But hopefully he will not allow to extend the but we'll see. No matter what, those warrants should not exist. And if we ask ourselves, can government exercise them? It shouldn't. Can they and will they? I wouldn't be surprised. Stay well, my friends.